Gemara, Bershus Derabeim, and the Talmidim, and TK. We have a Gemara on Daf Gimel Amud Beis, which is the opener to the sugya of Asay Doicha Leis Asay, and it starts off with the question as follows. Taima, the kos of Rachmana Aleh, why did the pasuk have to write the word Aleh? I'll tell you why. Because b'makom mitzvah, I would have a hava amina to say that if an achos isha falls to me, I should do yibum. So what's this word Aleh telling me? Don't have that hava amina. You can't do yibum, it's aser. Now the Gemara is wondering, why would someone have that hava amina? I'll tell you why. Because an asay can be deicha leis asay. The Gemara says, wait a second. What isser are you being over when you live with this achos isha? You're being over the isser of kares. So your hava amina would have to be that you have an asay that can be doicha alav sheish by kares. But what do we know? We only know that an asay can be doicha aleis asay greda. And with having said this, the Gemara asks, where's your makar that an asay can be doicha aleis asay greda? So now the Gemara ventures on many pages, and we get to Hayam and Aleph, and we finally found a makar for Devei Rabbi Shmuel as follows. We know that Beged means Samar Pishtin according to Devei Rabbi Shmuel, so if the pasuk says Samar Pishtim also, so something's extra, and therefore they have their makar from Klayim B'tzitis, that Asay G'leich Aleis is a greda. But the Rabbanan can't hold to this makar. Why? Because they don't hold that Beged means Samar Pishtim, so nothing in that pasuk's extra. So now we have to find a makar for the Rabbanan and say K'mideicha Aleis Asay greda. So the Gemara's first havamina is with the case of Mitzayra. So what's the case? We have a Mitzayra that's coming back into the camps after 7 days, and he knows that the Kohen told him, when you come back after 7 days, you need to cut off all the hair on your body. So he's in the barber shop, and the barber's cutting off his hair. And when he gets to the head, someone sitting on the side there says, I remember learning when I was a bacher that HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, don't cut off your payas. So the Mitzvah turns to him and he's like, what do you mean? The Kohen told me that when I come back into the camps, I need to cut off all the hair in my body. Wouldn't that mean my payas too? So the person sitting on the chair says, no, I'll tell you what the Kohen meant. The Kohen meant that when you have to cut off all the hair on your body, what does that mean? Cut off only the mutter hairs. That would not include the payas. So the steer in the barbershop, how do we resolve it? We look in the pasuk. The pasuk says, "V'haya v'yoy mashvi yigalach es kol se'aray es roshai." It's pretty redundant. If Hashem's telling me you need to cut off all the hair on your body and the hair on your head, something's extra here. So what can we say? We can say that es roshai is telling me that cut off the payas on the Mitzvah's hair. Hashem wants them off, and we can say that this could be a makar for the Rabbanan, and it says Doicha Aleis Asay greda. And Rashi says something. Now the Chayra needs an explanation. What does Rashi say? Rashi says, Umei hacha nafka hilkach itchdrich alel lemeisar erva liibum deloi tema asi asay diibum v'dachi lav dachos isha. From the fact that you're telling me that I have a makar for the Rabbanan, then I say is doicha lois asay from this case of Rosh Mitzayra. Now I know why the pasuk had to write the word aleh to tell me, I know you're going to have this havamina, that when this achos isha falls to you, b'makom mitzvah, you're going to have this havamina, I have to do yibum. And why would I know that? I know that from this case of Rosh Mitzayra. And Rashi says, this is why I need the word aleh. It's gewaldig. Yet again, if someone lives with this achos isha, even b'makom mitzvah, what isser is he being over? He's being over a kares. So that havamina would have to be, I have an asay, and that would allow me to be doicha the leis asay sheish by kares. But what mikar did we just find for the Rabbanan? We found the makar from Rosh Mitzayra that an asay can be doicha leis asay what? A leis asay greda. So on what basis where's Rashi coming from that he's telling me that from this Makar the Rabbanan, now I know why we need a le, now I know why I'd have to have a mina, then I say Sheish by Karis. Needs a hezber, as Rabbi Haller would say. So the Minchas Chinuch asks this question, and he brings Gevalig Getaret. The Minchas Chinuch, in Mitzvah Rishon and Aleph, quotes the Ran in Yuma, and he says as follows. The Ran has a case like this. There's a Chayle on Shabbos, and he's deathly ill, and he's going to die if we don't give him a piece of meat. And we have two options. We can either shecht an animal, or we have ready-made packaged nevela, obviously without the OU, and I don't know why they have it, but they have it. And we can give the chayla the nevela. So what do we do? So I'll tell you what we do. Why don't I give him the nevela? Because if I shech that animal on Shabbos, what am I being over? I'm being over and it's karis. But if I give him the nevela, what's he being over now? He's being over a lav. So the karis is more chomer than a lav. So the Ran comes and says a chiddush. The Ran says like this. It's not that when you eat the nevela you're being over a lav. Every kizayis of that nevela that you eat is another lav. So now it's not just a lav. Now it's 1, 3, 10, 20. But when you shech an animal on Shabbos, you're only being over 1 Isser Karis. And the Ran tells me that shechting that animal and being over that 1 Isser Karis is more kal than eating the nevela. So what should we give the chayla? We should give the chayla this animal that we shechted on Shabbos. And when we know that Yisrael, it's a Rashi, fits beautifully now. Why? Because when we're cutting off that mitzvah's payas, first we cut off the right side. Then we cut off the left side. Then he has no payas. So if Raisha is telling me that an asay kibedeicha leisasay, now it's not just 1 leisasay, it's 2. Or many. And Rashi says that if you're going to bring me a raya, then an asay kibedeicha 2 lavin, kol shekain, and asay kibedeicha a karis. And that's why Rashi says that's why I need the word aleh. From what the Ran says. However, Taisus on Daf Gimel Amud Beis asks a question as follows. He says, when the Gemara, why don't we learn out from the case of Eshes Ach, then let's say Sheish by Karis. And don't tell me that the Gemara on Daf Zayin Amud Beis is asking my question. Why? Because what's the answer that it gives there to the question that it has? It says, you can't learn out Achos Isha to Eshes Ach. Why? Because Eshes Ach is 1 Isser, as opposed to Achos Isha, which is 2 Isurin. And really, you can't learn out 2 from 1. And Tosfos says, that Gemara over there is not talking about Asay, Asay. Why? Because Tosfos says that a Leis Asay, B'makim Asay, it doesn't matter how many Leis Asays there are, it doesn't matter how many Lavin there are, the Asay can be Daicha. So the fact that the Gemara brings this answer over there, the Gemara must not be talking about Asay. The Leis Asay is talking about a different topic, therefore Tosfos' question stands. But we see from the Svar of Taisus that what does he hold? He holds that the fact that a Leisasay b'makom asay, the asay b'deicha, however many Leisasays there are, that's yidua, that's known. To tell me that an asay b'deicha a lot of sheish b'karis, that's something big. He doesn't hold this kol shekain and Rashi. So really, Taisus and Rashi, they're going at it. We'll leave it at that. And Rav Chanan asks that really we see that Taisus over here is not going, we want to select the Ran in the Ran's case. Why? What would Taisus say? According to Taisus, what's more kal? I'll tell you what's more kal. A leis asay, b'makom asay, it doesn't matter how many leis asays there are, the asay is always daiche. But according to the Ran, that's not the case. According to the Ran, whoever said that asay b'deicha leis as a 2 lavin? About you should give him, you should shech the animal on Shabbos and be over that Isser Karis. Tosfos would never say that because Tosfos doesn't have this kol shekain that if you're telling me 2 lavin, then surely you karis, and if for karis is more kal, Tosfos wouldn't say that. This is Rav Chanan's question. And we can try to bring a teretz from Rav Nachum, who says that Tosfos is going like Rav Nissen going in Shabbos. Tosfos on Gimel Beis is going like Rav Nissen going in Shabbos on Kuf Lam Gimel. And he says that Yisayid in Asay Deichel say as follows. It's not pshat that the asay has a strength that can push off the lois asay, and therefore the lois asay is pushed to the side, and now you can go right there with the asay. That's not pshat. Pshat is that whenever there's a lois asay, b'makom asay, that lois asay does not exist. When a Kadosh Baruch Hu made his lois asay, when a Kadosh Baruch Hu said don't do something, it was only with the condition that if you ever clash with an asay, you don't exist. Like, for example, with the case of Mitzayra. We know that we're not allowed to cut off our payas. That's an Isser. We're not rebelling against HaKadosh Baruch Hu when we cut off our payas. We're not going against him. But so when that Mitzayra cuts off his payas, Hashem says, I want you to cut off your payas. You are serving me by cutting off your payas. You're not rebelling against me. And therefore, Allah say, that Allah say doesn't exist. So now, so Tosfos, when he says that there are many lavin, b'makam asay, the lavin aren't there. But when does this logic apply? This logic applies only in a case of an asay that's doich lois asay. In the Ran's case, it's not pshat that we have an asay to save this person, and therefore Shabbos doesn't exist, and therefore the lavin aren't said. And what would Tosfos say? You have to do what's more kal. We've given the nevela. No. V'chai bahem is a din that's doich kol haTorah kula, which means to say that you have a reshus to save this person's life. If that means being over an avera, so fine. Be over that avera. But that avera is still there. That avera still exists. So Shabbos is still here. The lavin are still here. And what's the Ran doing? So the Ran's donning, the Ran's reevaluating the case, and now we have to find out what's more kal in this case. So the Ran would say, the Kares is more kal. And l'chayra, Tosfos would agree with him. Why? Because Tosfos only holds that the lois asay, the lavin aren't said in a case where it's b'makam asay. But here, there's no asay and a lois asay. That's not pshat. The pshat is v'chai bahem, which is doich kol haTorah kula. And Mamela, Tosfos would agree with the Ran and say that what do you do in this case? You check the animal and give him kares, because many lavin, that's more chamer than a kares. And we could use this answer of Nachum to say that in this case, Tosfos would agree with the Ran. Have a Friedrich Chanukah.